Ruth, because I think this man, I used to say, was the Babe Ruth of basketball. I've now come to believe that Babe Ruth was the Michael Jordan of baseball.
Babe Ruth is still the most famous name baseball and maybe American sports has ever produced. If not the Babe, then certainly in the second half of this century, the most recognized and popular athlete has more than likely been Muhammad Ali. But in a decade when the NBA exploded across the American landscape and on the shoulders of and the balletic moves of Julius Erving and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan became the focal point of an American sport that, like Jordan himself, has become an international phenomenon. And quite simply, Jordan was the most talented player the game had ever seen.
This guy's the best defensive player in the league. He's the best offensive player, and he's the best competitor. Playing on a team that complements him, but not a perfect team. He carries this team. Rarely do players carry teams to wins, much less championships. And if there is a better player that's ever going to play this game, we're all going to be scratching our head.
What sets Jordan apart from virtually every other sports legend is that he was able to announce his own retirement on his own terms, at his own time, at the top of his game.
Jordan turned his attention to minor league baseball, playing a season with the Birmingham Barons, the Chicago White Sox AA affiliate. But the strike pushed Jordan out of baseball, and soon he made a simple declaration to the NBA, "I'm back." We now present that first game. Throughout the program, we'll test your NBA knowledge with some classic trivia, highlight the Washington Wizards' schedule this season, and present Michael Jordan in his own words. See number 45 in action. It's the Bulls and Pacers from 1995 here on ESPN Classic.
Welcome to Market Square Arena, home of the Indiana Pacers and host to the Chicago Bulls. We pick up the action with the introduction of the starting lineups here on ESPN Classic.
At one forward, 6'7" from Central Arkansas, number 33, Scottie Pippen. At the other forward, 6'11" from Croatia, number 7, Toni Kukoc. At center, 7 feet from Vanderbilt, number 32, Will Perdue. At one guard, 6'2" from Iowa, number 10, B.J. Armstrong. At the other guard, 6'6" from North Carolina, number 45, Michael Jordan. The head coach, Phil Jackson, the Chicago Bulls. And now, Pacer people, let's get on your feet and make some noise. Everybody knows the loudest and proudest fans in the NBA are Indiana Pacer fans. Let's get ready! The other forward, 15, Mark Jackson. And in the yellow guard, 6'7" from UCLA, number 31, Reggie Miller. Your Pacer head coach, Larry Brown, your Indiana Pacers.
Marv Albert was at the mic for the last game Michael Jordan played in the NBA prior to today, Game 6 of the Finals against Phoenix in June of 1993, as they capped the run of 3 consecutive championships, and Michael was named the Finals MVP for the 3rd consecutive year. So it's fitting that Marv is set to call it now as Michael returns and the Bulls get set to tip off against the Pacers here at Market Square Arena. Courtside we go to Marv Albert and Matt Dukas.
Thank you, Bob. Yes, that was 636 days ago, so 21 months after his last appearance in an NBA game. Only 5 months after his number 23 was raised to the rafters in Chicago, Michael Jordan has returned, and he's wearing number 45. And Matt, for you trivia buffs out there, the last member of the Chicago Bulls to wear number 45 back in the 92-93 season, a fellow by the name of Ed Neely, who was a very popular member of the Chicago Bulls.
I remember Ed well, also with the Phoenix Suns. Marv, there's a lot of special moments in NBA basketball. Usually the opening game of the season, the playoff, 7th game of the series, the finals. I don't know about you, but I got the goosebumps for this one. This is very special.
Interesting, and it is home team privilege how they did diffuse the introduction of Michael Jordan, making sure that the Pacers got their due. Very quick in ending the announcement, letting the crowd respond as they did, and then getting right to the Indiana Pacers. And Derek McKee of the Pacers controlling the opening tip. The officials, Dick Bavetta, Ken Mauer, and N.F. Rush. Mark Jackson guarded by B.J. Armstrong. Michael Jordan on Reggie Miller here at the start. And Jordan comes up with the ball.
Michael Eberle actually was knocked loose by Will Perdue, but Michael's so quick right now. He looks lightning quick.
Well, he does have the fresh legs. Not in outstanding basketball condition, but in very fine physical condition. Here is Tony Kukoc dumping it off. Will Perdue pops it out. Michael Jordan looking for the shot. Not able to hit on his first attempt.
Shot clock was down to 4. That's when usually Scottie Pippen used to get the ball, and before that, that's when Jordan would get it under those kinds of conditions.
By Jordan, played by Jackson to the spin. Rebounded by Rick Smith. Well, Phil Jackson told us earlier he was concerned that the Bulls will be looking too much for Jordan. Reggie Miller not able to hit from downtown. Pippen trying to go back ball, and the ball goes back to Indiana.
Well, on the post feed to Rick Smith, Perdue actually giving him too much ground here, but then the quick hands of Michael Jordan to come up with the loose one. Both shots that Michael had taken have looked smooth and nice, just haven't dropped yet.
Double team on Smith's got it out for Jackson. Rebounded by Dale Davis. And here is Smith. Well, the NBA Player of the Week this past week, Rick Smith, who has been on a tear, gives Indiana a 2-0 lead. Kukoc at the high post. Armstrong cutting to the corner. Then by Jackson, and then double team. Here is Kukoc finding Pippen for 3. Get the idea that the Bulls are a little rattled here at the start as Miller is able to go all the way.
Well, there's no question the Bulls are tight right now, despite the fact they're running the very familiar triangle offense. Michael has played with 4 of those players out on the floor, but nothing is very smooth like this second.
Kukoc trying to get the step, rejected. Recovered by Kukoc and rebounded by Davis. 4-0 Pacers with 2.5 gone by. Smiths could not handle the pass, and it will be Chicago ball.
Well, Larry Brown wants his wing players, Derek McKee, and this man, Reggie Miller, to get out as quickly as possible to take some pressure off that half-court offense. The Pacers are a good rebounding team. They must take advantage of it by getting their fast breaks.
Well, the Bulls hold for their first 5. Reggie Miller guarding Michael Jordan. B.J. Armstrong. Shot clock at 5. Armstrong for Purdue. Make it 0-6 here at the start for Chicago. McKee saw the opening. Pass to Miller. And a foul is called. Reggie Miller will go to the line.
Well, to compound the problems for the Bulls, who are running their offense somewhat patiently, you got to give some credit, a lot of credit to the Indiana defense by forcing a couple of tough shots and misses. But the Chicago Bulls transition defense very sluggish right now, and the Pacers are taking advantage of it.
Indiana Pacers Friday night here at Market Square beat Orlando 107-97. They have won 2 straight over Milwaukee and Orlando. This following the successful West Coast swing. They won 5 of their last 6 overall. They've had big wins on that recent road trip at San Antonio and at Phoenix. While Chicago Friday night at home beat Milwaukee. Bulls coming back from a 15-point fourth quarter deficit for the Bulls. A rare fourth quarter comeback. That has been their problem, in particular in the third quarter. Here's Pippen. Got the step. Equal count and the foul.
Interesting that time, Marv. The Bulls came down and spread their offense even further out to try to stretch that defense to get some driving scenes. Here, the quick give and go from Purdue to Scottie Pippen. Got a favorable whistle there on the continuation as the Bulls have been dying to get on the board.
Eric McKee was called on the foul, so Chicago with its first field goal. They missed their opening 6 shots. 6-2, Indiana. Third meeting of the season between these two clubs. They split the previous 2. Reggie Miller. And that is career three-pointer number 999 for Reggie. 9-2, Indiana. Kukoc from deep. And back comes McKee. McKee delivers to Dale Davis.
3 seconds.
And a 3-second violation call.
Lane violation. Well, Reggie Miller open on this rotation because of the double team on Rick Smith's side. The little man, B.J. Armstrong, went down the double team, left the opening as Reggie needing one more.
Yes, looking for number 1,000. Chicago opening 1 for 8. Market Square Arena, Indianapolis. Capacity crowd better than 16,000 on hand. A franchise record 17th sellout. And the crowd receiving a bonus. This was a sellout over the last couple of weeks. But the bonus, the eagerly anticipated comeback of Michael Jordan, who has missed his first 2 shots. 4 minutes have gone by, and the Pacers lead 9-2. Jordan now posting up. Jordan with the turnaround. Makes it 0 for 3 for Michael. Getting good shots, but not able to hit. And the Bulls are 1 for their first 9. Mark Jackson setting it against B.J. Armstrong. Defensively, Jordan remaining on Miller. Purdue jumping out, but could not hold on. It will be Indiana ball with 6 on the shot clock.
The Bulls coming out of the timeout and going to a post-up for Michael Jordan to see if they can't get him inside or get fouled. He's probably not going to get fouled on too many fadeaways. Michael, I have a feeling, is going to start taking the ball to the hoop.
Beautiful setup from Jackson. Mark Jackson for Dale Davis, and the Pacers lead 11-2. Here is Pippen coming up short and hearing it.
Well, Phil Jackson's biggest fear at the beginning of this ballgame is that everybody would just be out of sync. There's just no way to recreate what Michael was able to do in 3.5 practices under game conditions.
And Dick Pavetta with the indication that Kukoc had touched it out of bounds. This, of course, the first time that Tony Kukoc has been on the same floor with Michael Jordan in league competition. Shot clock at 8. Miller from way downtown. Davis gets inside. So Chicago continues to have difficulties off the board. Davis 5 rebounds, 2
shots are hitting the front rim, an indication that the legs are a little tired.
Reggie Miller going around Michael Jordan, but coming up short on the reverse, and a foul is called on the Pacers. It's on Smits. That is his first.
And this is always a concern of Larry Brown with Rick Smits. He'll usually pick up a couple of ticky-tack ones early, similar to that or in the little block. But it's nice to have Antonio Davis back and healthy and making major contributions.
Antonio Davis has had back problems, and he is about to check in. Dale Davis has had problems with a separated shoulder on 2 occasions. Fouls on Mark Jackson. This is Antonio Davis replacing Dale Davis. Antonio Davis's wife giving birth to boy and girl twins earlier this week. In fact, missed a game because of that. Here's Jordan, and he's rejected. Smits and Perdue will jump it up.
Well, you could see that coming side out of bounds. This is the first time they've gone to a screen roll situation for Michael in the deep corner. Another opportunity for him to score, making a good hard move, but just out of sync and releasing the ball right now. And the other Bulls are not able to make up for it, as they seem to be rooting and pulling for Michael rather than just playing their game.
Michael 0 for his first 5. Pippen off the hesitation dribble. Perdue. Kukoc. Shot clock at 6. Armstrong for 3. Yes. B.J. Armstrong knocks it down from downtown.
Well, Michael was inside with Mark Jackson on him, posting up. The Bulls were unable to get it in. Michael wheeled on him to try to get offensive rebounding position and took Jackson to the floor.
Jordan over looking for the steal on Smits. And knocked out of bounds by the Pacers. So the ball back to Chicago.
Rick Smits making a move there as Michael ever alert to what the other team is trying to do. Smits did a very good job, however, of keeping Michael from stripping that ball.
Indiana with a 13-5 lead. Again, Jordan posted this time against Jackson, facing the double team. A leg block called on Miller, and a new 24 awarded Chicago. Here's Corey Blunt, second-year man out of University of Cincinnati. First-round draft pick last year, replacing Tony Kukoc.
Well, the Bulls starting to get hurt on the Pacers' offensive boards. Needs a bigger player in that, Corey Blunt, hopefully to do a good job on the defensive boards for Chicago.
Jordan backing his way and then throws it out. Here is Pippen extending. Scottie Pippen with a strong move. Indiana with a 13-7 lead. It has been an incredible scene here in Indianapolis the last 24 hours. More than 200 additional media credentials were needed as McKee is able to hit. Derek McKee with his first field goal. Scalper prices outside Market Square. Courtside tickets said to be going for better than $1,000 a pop. In the nosebleed section, we're told in the area of $400 to $500 per ticket. Corey Blunt rebounded by Rick Smits. Jackson. McKee tried the reverse. Kept alive by Miller. Feeding Jackson. He changes his mind in a beautiful look for Derek McKee.
Again, Mark Jackson wide open. He has been playing so much better since the Davises have come back and made a big difference in the Pacer ball club. His game has picked up as well, especially in the assist-to-turnover area.
Pippen. On the back tap taken by Perdue. Jordan gave up the shot to beat Scottie Pippen.
And Michael knows that he's about to come out. He sees Pete Myers waiting to check in as Phil Jackson gave Michael a good 8-minute run. I think he was a little upset at a defensive sequence between Michael and Pippen about a minute or so ago, but Michael was due to come out anyway.
Jackson has 5 assists in this opening quarter. Miller. Miller. 20-9, Indiana. Yes, the question is certainly stamina for Michael Jordan. Jordan for Perdue, who is fouled. Double team by Jackson and Smits. Foul is called on Jackson. 2:59 remaining in this first quarter. We'll be right back.
I'm a cat, Paula, and Dust.
Time now for some classic trivia. Michael Jordan won 10 scoring titles in his 13-year NBA career. His rookie year, 1985, was the only time he played a full season and didn't win the scoring title. Who led the NBA in scoring that year? Was it Larry Bird, Alex English, Bernard King, or was it Dominique Wilkins? We'll have the answer later in the program. But right now, let's return to the Bulls and the Pacers.
Indiana by 11, 7.5 remaining in this first half. Rick Smits. Now he put the move on Will Perdue, who was checked in for Luke Longley. Michael Jordan using the screen, met by Smits. Getting it to Perdue. Perdue's pass broken up by Mitchell with 8 on the shot clock.
Michael realizing himself that he's pounding the ball a little bit too much right now, looking very hard to create some things and probably thinking too much out there right now. He's going to have a couple of things happen where he can just relax and play.
And Pippen has it knocked away. Good hands by McKee. 6 remaining on the 24. Crowd wanted the call against Chicago. Coming up short with a new 24 for the Bulls. Kerr and Jordan now in the backcourt with Perdue, Pippen, and Kukoc. Backcourt flip for Pippen. Intercepted, but Dick Bavetta with the call against the Pacers.
Nice job, excuse me, Mark. Nice job of Steve Kerr patiently waiting for the offense to develop with a little flash up by Will Perdue and a nice cut by Scottie Pippen. Pippen coming off, who has been aggressive, taking the ball to the basket. And this is how the Bulls will start to get more free throws. They are one of the teams in the league shoots very few free throws, only 25 a game, making 18, which is really hard for their team right now to score, because that's that hidden way to score points and another way to enable them to get up and pressure defensively.
A foul on Smits, his second, and the Pacers now lead 33-24. Jackson calling out the play. Miller off the screen, met by Jordan. Michael getting more aggressive defensively. Open shot for Mitchell. Indiana leads by 11. Jordan using the pick. An offensive foul is called as Will Perdue was on the move and setting that pick.
Scottie Pippen took that ball hard to the basket, got banged by a couple of Pacers and hurt his wrist on the play. Was shaking it for a while there as he's communicating with Tony Kukoc, as Scottie holding on to that wrist as he banged it hard on that left-hand layup attempt.
Here's Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson with his first field goal to go along with 5 assists. Indiana 37, Chicago 24. First stop by Jackson. And Jordan resets. Now picked up on a switch by McKee. Kerr for 3. And a loose ball foul. It's on the Pacers. It's on Mitchell. Indiana is over the limit. Now Bill Weddington and B.J. Armstrong checking in for Chicago. Steve Kerr sitting down.
That was not the kind of shot that the Bulls wanted there. However, Steve felt the shot clock was winding down, launched the quick 3 with a hand in his face. But this man, Will Perdue, one of the best rebounders in the league per minute played. You see there, 7 rebounds in 21 minutes. 1 in 3 is outstanding. There you see those numbers. Last year, Will, a forgotten man, not even on the playoff roster, took that very hard, but to his credit, battled back hard in the summer to work his way and took advantage of the departure of Bill Cartwright to become the starter here in Chicago.
Indiana by 13. And once again, with Michael Jordan on the floor, the Bulls have fallen back. 10-3 run by the Pacers since Michael made his return. Here's Miller. And rebounded by coaching staff crazy. You cannot get that many opportunities. The Bulls' rebounding problems continue. Purdue, and rebounded by, yes, Dale Davis.
And they are absolutely and thoroughly dominating both backboards.
Jordan got picked off. Miller fires. Yes! Indiana lead, and Chicago wants to talk it over.
Well, long jump shots mean long rebounds, and both Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen have been flying at people, but that leaves openings in the seams to pick off those long rebounds, and the ones in tight, the Indiana Pacers are just out hustling and overpowering the Chicago Bulls inside right now. As Reggie Miller now coming off that screen, clearing himself from the pick, squaring up, eyeing the hoop, and draining one more three-point shot.
He had butterflies when the game started, but he was trying to adjust himself to the pace of the game. That's pretty much took him out of it physically. He also said the offense was out of sync because you have to realize he hadn't played with these players quite in a long time. He was trying to familiarize himself with the players on the floor. Mark?
Artemon, and that is a goaltending call, so Jordan gets credit, and he has hit double figures. 11 points for Michael. He is now 4 for 13 from the field. Pacers 56, and the Bulls 46. Jackson and Miller in the backcourt. McKee, Smits, and Dale Davis up front. Shot clock is down to 6. Jackson gets it inside to McKee, and a foul call.
Well, Mark Jackson realized how lucky he was to get that pass through there. He threw it. He almost wanted to pull it back as Scottie Pippen was in the lane, but he had his back turned. That ball able to snake through to Derek McKee, who's been a little bit more aggressive offensively, as Michael Jordan is saying to Scottie, keep your eye on the ball. You would have had a steal, partner.
Foul was called on Wennington. The Bulls, to this point, getting very little out of the center position. Purdue is 0 for 3. Wennington has not taken a shot. Longley 0 for 2. And Tony Kukoc, only 1 for 5 from the field, has not played in this third quarter. Torrey Blunt starting the third. Here's Will Purdue. It will count, and the foul.
Will getting a little encouragement this time from Michael Jordan. The last time Will took the ball to the basket, he just put up a little flipper and not very strong. This time, still not able to finish hard at the rim and stuff the ball in there, but doing his best. Got fouled on the play. Michael Jordan trying to encourage Will Purdue, who's doing a good job at the defensive end on Rick Smits before Rick gets the ball. Smits does have 10 points, but so far, good defense by Big Will.
And the foul on Smits, who picked up his third. Indiana 58 and Chicago 49. 5 minutes in, third quarter. Quick release by Reggie Miller. 19 for Reggie. Pacers 60 and the Bulls 49. Wennington setting the pick. Jordan sweeping by but went off the back rim. Recovered by Dale Davis as Rick Smits hit the deck. Jackson. Yes. Well, the Pacers responding to the double team as Mark Jackson was wide open. Jackson with the steal. Jackson behind the back, and he will start it all over again.
Good job by the point guard, Mark Jackson, exploring the fast break, not there. The knowledgeable Indiana fans appreciating that kind of small nuance in half-court basketball. Fast break, not there. Pull it back out, set something up.
Got clock down to 3. McKee. Indiana with a 15-point lead. Derek McKee with 14 points. Smits with his fourth. And that is number 4 on Rick Smits, who is foul prone, he will sit down. Antonio Davis will come on. Smits departing with 10 points and 7 rebounds.
The Bulls have been tentative with some of their passes as Michael will go to the bench for a rest, replaced by Pete Myers, and Tony Kukoc coming in for Will Perdue. And right before that, the Bulls have brought in Bill Wennington to replace Corey Blunt to put him in that big forward spot as Phil is trying to keep a couple of extra big bodies in there against the outstanding rebounding of the Indiana Pacers.
And Indiana's come out shooting well in the third quarter, 6 of 7 from the field. Bulls have hit 5 of 10. Nearly had nowhere to go. Down to 6 on the 24. Pippen looking for the shot, can't find it. Kukoc has to fire and hits. Tony Kukoc with a 3 with the shot clock running down. It's only his second field goal. It cuts it to a 12-point Pacer lead. Just under 5 minutes to go. Third quarter. Call away from the ball. Pete Myers holding Reggie Miller.
Well, Tony Kukoc had been trying to post up Dale Davis. He would have much more success by taking him away from the basket and possibly driving on him. He had to launch this 3 to beat the shot clock, but Tony Kukoc has been silent so far as he seems a little bit mesmerized with the whole situation.
Well, you can understand that he might have come in with the same butterflies that Michael Jordan mentioned to Ahmad Rashad. Michael Jordan has talk of the emotional response of Tony Kukoc when Tony had signed with the Bulls, felt that he was going to join a Chicago team that had Michael Jordan as his teammate, and then Jordan announced his retirement, and Michael said he literally couldn't believe how emotional Kukoc reacted. He was so disappointed that he had wanted to play with Michael. So these are big moments for the second-year player out of Croatia.
And some of his comments over the last couple of weeks where he did not want to get his hopes up because he did not want to possibly get disappointed again if Michael had made the other decision.
Shot clock at 5. They double up on Pippen. Kukoc checking the clock, gets it off, and it's an air ball, so a 24-second violation.
Well, Tony Kukoc is a good post player against smaller players, but when he's being guarded by a Derek McKee, who's really a small forward, but a 6'11" small forward, or one of the Davises, he's better at taking the ball out about 17, 18 feet, facing up and trying to drive into a seam.
Reggie Miller isolated against Pete Myers. Myers got picked off. Miller not able to hit the 3. Indiana responding, getting back. Pippen. Yes, nice move by Scottie Pippen, although the Pacers were able to get back. Chicago was trying to break, and then Pippen cut it to a 12-point Indiana advantage. Jackson, the one-time New York Knick, one-time Los Angeles Clippers, had a solid game. They double up on McKee. Mitchell. Sam Mitchell extends to a 14-point lead.
Now McKee is a tough cover for Scottie Pippen inside. He has a little bit of a height advantage, can shoot over, and that's why the double team came. And McKee smartly got the ball outside to the open Mitchell.
Armstrong beating Jackson on the dribble, and it's Wennington with the slam.
Bill does that about 4 or 5 times a year. When he does it in either old Chicago Stadium, which is no longer, or the new United Center, the crowd goes wild. He just takes a gamble, takes a run at it, and finishes off the play.
Indiana with a 12-point lead. We come up on 3 minutes left in the third. Strong move by Antonio Davis, who also paid for it, and he was fouled. Took a shot in the head.
Well, a running start by Bill Wennington out from about the right elbow area, guessing just right, and the ball coming right off the rim, right where he is able to finish and tomahawk it through.
Wennington called for the foul, sending Davis to the line. A hand for Reggie Miller sitting down. He'll get a rest, leads with 21 points. Antonio Davis at the free throw line. In his second year out of Texas, El Paso, a second-round draft pick back in 1990. Played in Europe for 3 years, in Italy and Greece, before signing on with Indiana. Michael Jordan now returning. So Michael's certainly getting the playing time. Opened up with 9 minutes in the first quarter. Saw considerable action in the second. 19 minutes in all for the half. 28 minutes thus far for Jordan. who's beginning to show some signs. Doing it off the dribble here against Byron Scott. Faced the double team, got it out to Myers. Myers. Pacers 69. The Bulls 58.
It actually turned into a little bit of a triple team, which really opened up the lane for Myers, who made a nice move going to his left.
Now Jordan defensively facing Fleming. Fleming and Scott now in the backcourt. Last touch by Pippen with 11 on the 24. And a timeout being called by Larry Brown. 2:35 remaining in the third. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
The answer, Bernard King, who averaged over 32 points a game. Larry Bird finished second that year. Still ahead, Michael Jordan in his own words. But right now, let's return to the Bulls and Pacers from 1995 here on ESPN Classic.
As we observe the return of Michael Jordan, another look back at the Jordan years, that emotional first championship in 91, 1992, the Bulls knocking off Portland in Chicago for a second title, and then a third straight, defeating Charles Barkley and the Phoenix Suns in 6 games. That 1993 NBA championship squad. A host of familiar names and a host of changes have been made. As you can see, that group no longer with the Bulls. Only Armstrong, Pippen, and Perdue remain, along with Michael Jordan. Revamped franchise. When you look back at last year, it was truly amazing the job that Phil Jackson and the Bulls did. That's a 24-second violation. Chicago finishing a surprising 55-27, second in the Central. Only 2 games back in that first season without Michael Jordan. They were 3rd overall in the East, and then in the playoffs they swept Cleveland. And in the Eastern Conference semifinals, lost in a grueling series to the Knicks in 7 games. Kukoc trying to shake off Mitchell. Draws the foul. Sam Mitchell picking up his second personal. And Indiana last year with a 47-35 record. A strong finish, and they did the job in the playoffs. They swept Orlando in the first round, beat Atlanta in 6, and they went to 7 against the Knicks. Jordan firing the 3. And a loose ball foul is called again against Mitchell.
Well, once Michael gets familiar with the new three-point line, I'm sure he's going to be a much better three-point shooter. If you remember, a couple of years in their career, he worked hard in the offseason, came back, improved his three-point shooting, but he is still suffering from the rust, and the shooting is suffering the most right now.
Jordan is now 4 for 15. Myers posting up on Fleming. Kukoc with the fake. Shot clock at 8. Jordan for Kukoc. Yes! Michael Jordan with the feed for Tony Kukoc to bring the Bulls within 9. A minute 35 left in the third quarter. Kukoc on the steal. Try to save it. Lands in the Chicago front court, but handled by Fleming.
Well, Michael was zigging when he probably should have been zagging, but that pass thrown behind him to spoil a chance for a Chicago fast break and a thunderous Jordan finish.
Has been getting the playing time, coming out as a third guard, very much into the rotation. Here's Jordan spinning his way, getting it up for Pippen, and he draws the foul.
Well, the last 2 times Michael Jordan has had the ball in the offensive end, he has become a penetrator. He is, in fact, the point guard right now. Being guarded by Byron Scott, beats him on the penetration, finds Tony Kukoc coming in along the baseline. Excellent penetration, drawing the defense, and Michael knows that he is drawing it and can find open people as Scottie Pippen able to get to the free throw line.
I'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Charlotte and Utah. Charlotte with a 100-92 lead in the final minutes of the fourth quarter. Here at Market Square, it's the Pacers 71 and the Bulls 61 with less than a minute to go in the third. Marv Albert with Matt Kukoc, Ahmad Rashad, Bob Costas, Michael Jordan to this point. 4 of 15, 11 points, 3 assists.
Chicago in a 2-for-1 situation with 40 seconds to go in this third quarter. Look for a quick shot coming.
Kukoc spinning his way. And back comes McKee. Now to 25 seconds to go in the third.
Well, they got the quick shot, but not a good one.
Off the trap foul call. Pippen and Myers lining on Scott, and Pippen is called for the foul, his second. Bulls are over the limit, so Byron Scott to the line. Byron Scott, after 10 years with the LA Lakers, signed as a free agent with Indiana last December. Member of 3 Laker championship teams.
Workman about to check into the ballgame. He has a Band-Aid over his right eye now. He had one on the left side of his face before. When he first came out on the floor, he had it on the back of his head. I don't know if it's some superstition or whatever.
Just a cut that is moving around. And Haywood is back. Haywood Workman, a major surprise last year after spending time with Atlanta and Washington. He's able to do the job without having true point guard skills. Very tough player. And a good player defensively. And that's what Larry Brown appreciated last year. But Mark Jackson is back as the starting point guard. They double up on Jordan. Time running out here in the third. Jordan played by Fleming. Down to 5 seconds. Now they double up. Here's Jordan slicing his way, setting up Weddington. 1 8 10 seconds to go in the third as Workman. And that's the end of the third quarter. The Pacers 73 and the Bulls 63.
Byron Scott not wanting to let Vern Fleming face Jordan one-on-one, comes out but overruns the play, leaving another wide open lane for Michael to get in there, draw the defense, and get the easy one for Bill Wennington.
So Michael Jordan setting up Bill Wennington to conclude matters. His appearance in an NBA game. Michael opening up this fourth quarter guarding Vern Fleming. Antonio Davis. And last touch by the Bulls. But meanwhile, despite the fact that this has not been an effective game for the Bulls, they are hanging around, down by only 10 as this fourth quarter gets started.
Mainly because their defense was much more aggressive in the third quarter. They shot the ball better, but the reason why they're still down 10 is the 6 turnovers that they had in that third quarter.
And whistle away from the ball is against Indiana. Scott called for the offensive foul. At one point, Indiana led by as many as 18. Pacers with a good shooting third quarter, 8 for 10 overall in the third.
Michael there setting up Steve Kerr coming off a stagger, but good defense by the Pacers, shut it off, and a nice move inside by big Luke Longley.
8-point Indiana lead. Reggie Miller getting set to check back in. Fleming and Scott on the backcourt. Smits playing with 4 fouls up front with McKee and Antonio Davis. Not a good shot by Smits. Here's Jordan putting the move on.
And Michael looking over to the official on the baseline, trying to figure out why he didn't get a foul call there. He initiated the contact into Smits.
Smits. To a 10-point Pacer lead.
He is just so comfortable facing the basket from about 15 to 18 feet out front, and really prefers that left box where he wheels across the middle for a little rolling hook.
Lead intended for Kerr. Fleming for Davis. Smits off the ball fake, and a hand check being indicated by Dick Bavetta.
Michael Jordan spots a little lane here, knows he's in trouble with the 7'4" Smits, but shoved that right hip into Smits, looking for the call, not really complaining loud. rally, but you could tell he felt he got bumped on this play. One more look at it as Michael just shoved the little hip into Smith, which did follow the shot.
And at the other end, Longley is called for the foul. Reggie Miller is back, replacing Derek McKee. Solid game for McKee, 14 points.
Well, he does so many good things on the basketball floor that you don't notice. It's all the little things, and of course Larry would like them to become more and more aggressive offensively.
Byron Scott running into Luke Longley. That is number 4 on Longley. On Friday night in the game against Milwaukee, in a rare occurrence because the Bulls have not been a successful comeback team, they did overcome a 15-point deficit after 3 quarters to beat the Bucks. That is a rare comeback. The Bulls have suffered this season with very poor third quarter. And that has gotten Phil Jackson crazy. Remember, several weeks ago, he closed the locker room after a game on a Friday night. Had a long meeting with his coaches the following day, trying to solve the problem. Well, he may be on the way to solving that problem with number 45.
You'd say they've had
number 45 rejoining his club.
That's a nice player to add late in the season.
Off the steal, Fleming. Jordan got a piece of it. Fleming ran into his own man. Here's Scott. Not a pretty sequence, but Byron Scott gives the Pacers a 14-point goal.
Fumbling, stumbling, Vern did a good job, Vern Fleming, of finally corralling that thing and getting it to the open man.
Pippen backing his way. With the shot clock running down. Rebounded by Jordan, who takes it up. And he's fouled. Michael Jordan will go to the line.
Well, Vern Fleming never really getting a handle on this thing, trying to run the fast break on the crossover there, bothered by Kerr. He lost it, he got bumped by his own man, Smith, but Byron Scott in the right place at the right time to finish it off with the jumper.
Antonio Davis called for the foul. Timeout is taken with 9:14 left in the fourth. 6 all-defensive team awards.
Well, the Bulls hanging around in this one have been down 10-12. They know they have to get it around 10 or 8 under 6 minutes. Again, trying to make something happen with that defense after the free throw, but not having a player like Horace Grant who really sets the tone with that pressure in the backcourt, really hurting the Bulls.
Byron Scott. 3 of 5, 12 points for Scott. Indiana leading 81-67. Jordan working off the pick. Rebound, Jordan. Try to alter the shot with Smits right there. Here's a 3-on-1. Miller pulls out for 3.
Reggie going for the kill there right now, leading by 14, trying to put this thing away, or at least at this particular juncture with that pull-up jumper on the fast break from beyond the arc.
Kukoc passed the open shot, and then a bad pass. Miller on the run. Delivers to Fleming.
And you can get it in twos as well. Normally Reggie Miller on the catching end of those kind of plays shows that he is unselfish, wants to get his teammates involved most of the time.
Indiana by 16 points. Kerr for 3. Kerr with the straightaway three-pointer. That is his first of the day, and the Pacers lead 83-70.
And Michael Jordan walking back on defense, looking over to Phil Jackson, pointing to himself, needing a breather at this particular junction.
He has played 33 minutes. 7.5 to go in the fourth. Here's Scott. Offensive foul.
Dick Pavetta, the official, saying that Byron Scott on that penetration took the left arm and warded off the defender. Byron not happy with it, but I think an accurate call by Dick Pavetta. Number 5 on Scott, and that'll bring Derek McKee back into the ballgame as Michael Jordan will get a rest. That's Byron Scott coming across the lane, and keep an eye on that left arm as he used that very, very quickly, I might add, to ward off the defender.
The applause for Vern Fleming as he sits down. A steady performance by Vern, who just recently played his 800th NBA career game. Pippen for three. Yes. Scottie Pippen, 22 points. And the Pacers lead 83-73.
Scottie knows right now with Jordan on the bench, he only has one other offensive player out on the court for him, at least in shooting, as far as shooting is concerned.
Beyond the three-point line, Miller has 24. Longley with the ball fake. Goes and Smits again. Nice move by Luke Longley. Indiana 86 and Chicago 75.
Beautiful move by Luke, who feels when he gets the ball in that post offense, it's for him to score. It isn't always, but when he can make that kind of move, it's very effective.
Miller, he thought he was fouled by Myers. Continues the discussion as he moves to the defensive end. Corey Blunt, Scottie Pippen, met by the double team. Good defense by the Pacers. Myers rejected by Dale Davis. Longley with the save, but it's a 24-second violation.
Reggie Miller still upset with the official, felt he got hit on the last play. This time, coming off that screen, shuffles the feet a little bit, but Pete Myers getting hung up on the pick, and that left Reggie Miller to finger the seams, read the label, and drain the three. And here, after the next three-pointer, when he got hit on the arm by Pete Myers, continues to complain to the referee.
Over the years, Michael Jordan has sat down for many SportsCenter conversations. For a small sampling of MJ's best, here's this classic conversation.
It's not that I'm being selfish in the situation. I'm trying to get us to a point where we can be considered as one of the elite teams. And that can be if I'm scoring 60 points, or scoring 2 points, playing defense, passing, rebound, whatever I have to do to help this team get to that point.
Have you missed out on anything because of the celebrity status, because of sometimes being a prisoner of your fame?
I don't think I've missed out, but I think people around me have missed out. My wife, going to movies, going to dinners, taking my kids to parks, amusement parks. These things that my family's missed out on.
Is the only way to define a great season to you winning a title?
Sure. I mean, what we have accomplished this season, and we've bonded together, which has been a very amazing thing all season long, is that we've put together a lot of different personalities on this team, and yet we've accomplished a lot.
Could you possibly even entertain the thought of retiring without winning the final game of the season?
I don't want to think that way. I want to think that, whenever I choose to quit, that, I'm leaving when we're winning and not when we're losing,
But you couldn't walk off the floor having lost your last game, could you? The competitor in you, could you?
I could, because I have so many successes to have memories over, so I'm not afraid of that.
When Mario unretired and he scored that first goal, was there just a twinge of maybe?
It was an itch, in all honesty. I'm great with Mario. We're great friends, and I told him when he did that, he's going to start this whole concept. Everybody's going to say, well, you still can play, you can still get out there and do the things that you can do, but I know my place right now. But yeah, I did get the itches. I did get the urge sometimes to think about what if.
Well, as you know, Michael did change his mind. His first game is at Madison Square Garden against an old rival. Right now, let's get back to the Bulls and Pacers as Jordan returned to the NBA the first time right here on ESPN Classic.
Welcome back to Market Square Arena, where the Indiana Pacers lead the Chicago Bulls 86-75 with 6 minutes and 2 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. We'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching Utah and Charlotte. And the Hornets over the Jazz 108-104, and the Charlotte Hornets now show a record of 40 up and 25 down, so they are in a virtual tie for the Central Division lead with the 39-24 Indiana Pacers. The Hornets stopping a 3-game losing streak. Utah losing on the road, which is unusual. They are now 23-11 on the road. They still lead is a 24-second violation. The stat line on Michael Jordan, who has just checked back in, he has played 33 minutes. He missed his first 6 shots and then was able to connect 4 of 18 overall for 13 points, 5 of 6 from the line, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Certainly in a process of adjustment. Looking a bit rusty. On the other hand, we have seen some terrific flashes. Michael now 4 for 19. It will get better for Michael and the Bulls.
Well, the defense of the second half of the Chicago Bulls much better. In fact, the Indiana Pacers have no second chance points. So the move of starting Corey Blunt, playing Bill Wennington a little at the big forward spot has worked for Chicago, at least defensively, here in the second half.
A show the ball move by Jordan. Now guarded by McKee. Longley off the nice excellent pass from Jordan.
Terrific, and Michael, I appreciated that move by Longley to keep moving and then stop dead in the lane with the defender on his back. That's why he got such good position.
Pacers 86 and the Bulls 77. McKee went underneath the hoop. Armstrong has a 3-on-2. Pacers able to hustle back. Pippen. Scottie Pippen driving the lane. And it's down to a 7-point Pacer lead.
Hanging around, just hanging around, and that's dangerous when you have number 45 on the floor.
6-0 run by Chicago. Miller, yes! There's a 2-pointer. The quick release of Reggie Miller extends to an 88-79 Indiana lead. 26 points for Miller. Going glass. Indiana 88, Chicago 81. 15 from Michael Jordan.
The Pacers right now really don't have an inside-outside game. You could throw it into McKee and possibly get a double team, but that's why it's been hard for Reggie Miller to get a lot of shots up this year.
Miller gets it, another one. Pippen with the rebound. 7-point deficit. Chicago in possession. Jordan gets it to Pippen. Here's Corey Blunt, and he drew the foul.
Reggie Miller has to depend on baseline screens like that to get open shots. He also has to get kickouts from penetration. But Michael Jordan, hard drive off the dribble to take it to the open spot, get in the air quickly, and nicely using glass.
Non-shooting foul on Antonio Davis, who departs, replaced by Dale Davis. 3:05 remaining in the fourth quarter. 7-point Indiana lead. They've led by as many as 18. Pippen for 3. Rebound block. Armstrong backs to 3-point territory, and he hit it. The lead is down to 5. Jackson calls for time with 2:44 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Well, here the Bulls taking advantage of a second shot opportunity as Corey Blunt working hard, and a lot of times the defense will sag in there after the open shot, and that will enable the three-point shooters to spot up behind the line. A three-pointer as Corey Blunt will kick out to B.J. Armstrong, but keep an eye on B.J.'s right foot right on the line as he releases that shot. Michael trying to get the 3, but it was ruled a 2-point shot.
5-point lead for Indiana. 2:44 remaining in this fourth quarter. 16-5 run by Chicago. 4 minutes into this fourth quarter, the Pacers were up by 16, so the Bulls trying to make it another good run as they did on Friday night. Coming up short, and the rebound is fielded by Armstrong. The Chicago Bulls very much alive. Jordan posting on Miller. No help at this point. Jordan not able to hit, and it's rebounded by Dale Davis. Number 18 off the boards for Davis. McKee with the board. A clutch shot by
Jordan returns against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden on October 30th. Scheduling coincidence? November 3rd, Jordan makes his home debut as Washington hosts Allen Iverson and the defending Eastern Conference champion 76ers. December 16th, one famous Tar Heel alum faces another as the Wizards meet the Raptors. On January 4th, a matchup between two of the league's worst teams last season now gets top billing as Jordan plays against the Bulls for the first time in his career. About 2 weeks later, Chicago welcomes back its greatest player, now in an enemy uniform. Then there's February 12th, when Kobe Bryant and Phil Jackson welcome his airness to town. And on February 27th, Scottie Pippen and Jordan square off for the very first time. Suddenly, Wizards tickets are a hot commodity. Much more on MJ's return still to come, but right now, let's get back to Michael's first comeback tour. The Bulls and Knicks from 1995 here on ESPN Classic.
Jordan looking up at the scoreboard to check. Scoring time, has gotten plenty of minutes for himself. A little rusty from the field, or we should say very rusty, at just 5 for 21. Not taking advantage of a possible hand check here. Settles for jump shot, and then the Indiana Pacers will turn it into a wide open jumper on the break for Derek McKee, as once again Mark Jackson finds the open man.
Well, let's see, Matt. Wearing number 45. Michael Jordan, 5 for 21, only a 24% shooter. Looking back at his career, wearing number 23 was a 52% shooter.
You think they'll stop making all those shirts now?
Yes. No.
I didn't think so.
Timeout rundown. Chicago 3 and a 20. Indiana 2 and a 20. The Bulls in possession. Just under 2 minutes. Remaining on the fourth. Jordan swinging for the jumper. Rebound Longley. Puts it on the floor and drew the foul.
You know, when Michael looks at the tape of this, he's going to see that a lot of the moves were there, a lot of the quickness, the good, sharp ball handling. Just a lot of shots early in this ball game did not fall, which I think started to make him think. Here's a typical Michael Jordan move. Good defense by Reggie Miller to turn him away. Michael hanging in the air. Just cannot get these shots to drop.
Luke Longley missing on his first free throw. Luke, an 82% free throw shooter. Bulls 16 of 24 at the line. Pacers 90 and the Bulls 84. I'm talking to Chicago players. Jordan with the steal. Michael Jordan going. Oh, he dumped it off the block and it drew the foul. Looked like he would challenge Smits. As you say, the moves are there. He's getting the open looks, but in talking to the coaches and various Chicago players, they say that the jump shot was not there in practice, at least Michael Jordan type jump shots.
Well, that steal came off the Bulls track there, and it looked like the Pacers had it beaten easily, and then just put it. It really was not that bad a pass. Yes, it was a cross-court pass, but Michael's so quick into the passing lane. Most teams, in particular the Pacers today, not used to seeing players so quick on that pass. So it's so hard to practice against it. Not that the Pacers had any chance to prepare.
What a 52% free throw shooter, hitting 1 of 2. It's a 5-point lead. Pressure by Chicago. A minute 35 remaining in the fourth. Indiana is led by as many as 18. Armstrong with a steal. Feeding Pippen. Scottie Pippen punches for a 3-point lead. And you can hear the Chicago contingent applauding the efforts of the Bulls. It's down to 3 with a minute and 15 remaining on the fourth. Smits. And it's tipped home. Reggie Miller with 28, and he gives Indiana a 5-point lead.
Well, the Bulls have been so successful with the pressure defense, and then down by 3, they gambled one too many times, but that's the first 2 points for Indiana in the second half off the glass.
Under a minute remaining. Fourth quarter. Pippen. Yes. That's a 2-pointer for Scottie Pippen. Pacers 92. The Bulls 89. We are down to 45 seconds in the fourth quarter. Jordan looking for the steal on Smits. 10 on the shot clock. Jackson played by Armstrong. Shot clock at 5. McKee forced it. Handled by Block. And the ball in the hands of Jordan. 25 seconds remaining. The pick set by Longley. There's Pippen for 3. so Miller will not go to the line. 3 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. And both Michael Jordan and Reggie Miller are obviously hurting.
Well, Reggie Miller popped off that screen wide open, and Michael Jordan running at him, and then Reggie in trying to elude Jordan taking it to the baseline, and they got tangled up. And right away, Michael put up his arm. I don't know, so not so much say that he committed the foul. Let's watch again. As Michael trying to keep contact, and Reggie eludes that contact, and you see running at him, and now watch the legs. Reggie's right, and Michael Jordan's right, and both of them in a lot of discomfort right now.
A bizarre conclusion with the Chicago Bulls coming from behind on a 25-9 run. And the two marquee players, Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, end up on the floor. We'll be right back.
And on that last collision between Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan, where their legs sort of collided, Michael Jordan came out of this with a cramp. That was his problem, and Reggie Miller almost a bruise. Their legs hit together, and Reggie Miller, both of them appear to be all right. Reggie's still hobbling just a little bit. So it remains to be seen if Reggie Miller will still be in the game. Michael Jordan, as I said before, just suffering a cramp. Mark?
Armand, we're down to 3 seconds remaining in regulation. The Chicago Bulls, with a surge in this fourth quarter, have tied the game at 92. That's the timeout rundown. Bulls 3 full timeouts plus a 20. The Pacers 1 plus a 20.
And the Bulls have a delay of game to try to find out what the play was. They found out a little bit about where Mark Jackson was going. Of course, the number one option here would be Byron Scott, their best perimeter shooter.
And now a 20-second timeout is taken by Larry Brown. So he'll want to make an adjustment. Indiana down to 1 full timeout. Reggie Miller remaining on the Indiana bench. Michael Jordan staying on the Chicago bench. A 25-9 run over the last 7.5 minutes by the Bulls. For the second straight game, they come from way back. Great sign for Phil Jackson and the Bulls. And you can see things building as Michael Jordan is finding a rhythm, as we have been discussing, not able to hit his shots, but certainly getting the good looks and certainly instrumental in the Chicago comeback.
And the Bulls did it with their defense and keeping Indiana off the glass and making some timely jumpers, in particular B.J. Armstrong and Scottie Pippen with the major three there. Now, a guy to keep your eye on here is Rick Smits after a pick is set, because he presents a big target, can catch, and then make another move to score.
McKee throwing in for Jackson. Back to McKee for the shot, and we go to overtime. The Chicago Bulls and the Indiana Pacers head to an overtime session at Market Square. The Bulls 92 and the Pacers 92. Back in a moment.
Hey, there's big news at...
And now they lose their best perimeter shooter. Rick Smits has to become the first option for the Pacers right now.
And apparently Michael Jordan is all right. He is back on the floor. In the fourth quarter, though, it was Scottie Pippen with 12 of his 31, including a couple of big threes down the stretch to send this game into overtime. Indiana controlling the opening tip. Michael Jordan has played 39 minutes, 5 of 22 from the field. And a foul is called. Rick Smits on the double team, hit by Luke Longley.
Well, they do go right into Rick Smits, and Longley does the smart thing, takes away the middle from Smits, but commits the quick foul.
Byron Scott facing a double team. They go right back to Smits, working against Longley. Shot clock at 10. Smits. Rebound to a soaring Jordan. Jordan now guarded by Scott. front. Armstrong, Jordan in the backcourt. Jordan gets inside, trying to get it to Longley. Shot clock at 3. Jordan has to pump it. 1 minute gone by in overtime. Neither team has scored. The game tied at 92. Dale Davis for Mark Jackson. Shot clock at 6. Jackson on the follow.
A whole bunch of people hit that. Mark Jackson will get credit for it. I think Corey Blunt got a piece of it as well for one of the rare second shot opportunities for the Pacers in this second half in overtime.
Blunt keeping it alive, getting a new 24 for the Bulls. This is their 6th overtime game. Nice backdoor pass to Blunt, rejected by Dale Davis. That's his 4th block.
Oh, what a tough inside defender. Beautiful bounce pass from Luke Longley, and Corey Blunt not able to take it to the rim strong enough, and that enabled Dale Davis to get back in there and swat it out. However, the Bulls do recapture the ball.
Michael Jordan, yes. Michael Jordan. And the game is tied at 94. 17 for Jordan. Chicago 1-4 in overtime games this season. Pacers have won 2. They've lost 1. Stuck with the answer. Comes right back at Jordan. And the Pacers lead 96-94. Just under 3 minutes to go in overtime.
Well, the Bulls had a lot of success coming down the stretch with just spreading the floor and creating that kind of penetration.
Jordan. Dale Davis ripping it down. Rebound number 19 for Davis. Scott trying to get it to Smith.
Oh, Michael Jordan popping out wide open for the jump shot, and now starting to feel it with the familiar tongue starting to get out there.
And the matchup, Jordan against Scott. Waves Longley over. Goes to the crossover. Changes his mind. Did not force it. Pippen. Air ball. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Smith. Chicago maintains possession with 4 on the 24.
It's so typical of the Chicago offense. When they try to run something set, they invariably wear down the shot clock and wind up having to take tough shots like that.
Timeout is being called. 2:14 left in overtime. The Pacers lead by 2.
Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win!
Michael with 69. Jordan past Petrovic.
Oh, yes! Yes! Yes!
Jordan tonight.
Jordan open. Chicago with the lead.
Stay with us as our NBA Marathon featuring some of Michael Jordan's greatest performances now continues here on ESPN Classic.
Well, Reggie Miller has made his way back to the Indiana bench. For more of that, let's go to Ahmad Rashad.
All right, Marv, you were saying just earlier something about Willis Reed. Well, like Willis Reed in that game where he came out, Reggie Miller has just come out, talked to the trainer, and says that he wants to go back into the game. They're discussing it right now. As you can see, he has taken the ice off of his leg and has told the trainer he's prepared to go back and play. Marv?
Reporting on our conversations during commercial breaks now, I see.
Marv, that's one of those kinds of injuries where it's going to be very, very sore later tonight and tomorrow, but putting ice on it quickly and the rest of your body still relatively warm, that it's possible that he could go in there for a last-second type shot at the end of the overtime period.
4 on the shot clock as we resume. And we get the whistle. Delay of game warning charged on Indiana. Derek McKee not giving the proper room to Scottie Pippen on the inbound.
And now they're going to put 10 seconds on the shot clock instead of the 4. It's a big break for the Chicago Bulls in this situation.
All being explained, Larry Brown begrudgingly accepting that there are now 10 seconds remaining on the 24. Shot clock down to 6. Jordan lost the grip. Pippen on the recovery. And the ball goes to Indiana.
Oh, Michael's just disgusted with himself right now in that situation, trying to get into the lane and just mishandling the ball. And that's going to happen for a while. All these little things that rarely happen to Michael Jordan are happening for him today.
Indiana with the ball. They lead by 2. Jackson behind the back for Spence. Spence, he had it deflected. Kept away by Dale Davis. He's rejected. And a foul against Chicago. Foul committed by Corey Blunt.
All the attention was surrounding Rick Smits as he was trying to make a move into the lane. Everybody trying to block the shot, or at least 3 people, and that left Dale Davis, who has been doing major damage on the offensive glass, all alone there to do battle with Michael Jordan.
Dale Davis with his 20th rebound. That's a season high, but very shaky at the line. Only 53% from the foul line, and he is 2 of 5 here this afternoon. Now Steve Kerr checking back in, replacing Corey Blunt. Phil Jackson looking for the offense. So Blunt sits down, and Chicago with a combination now of Kerr, Armstrong, Jordan, Pippen, and Longley.
And with both B.J. Armstrong and Steve Kerr out on the floor, spreading it, getting it out on the wings, beyond that 3-point line, gives more room for Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan to operate by getting into the lane and creating something.
Sits down. Davis connecting on 1 of 2. Indiana leads 97-94. A minute 45 remaining in overtime. They isolate Jordan on Scott. Yes. Michael Jordan comes up hobbling. Cuts it down to 1. A minute 32 remaining in overtime. And Indiana calls for time. You saw Michael hobble off after hitting that jump shot.
Here Michael Jordan with very poor spacing on the weak side, just able to out-quick and get in the air over Byron Scott. And the leg that he hurt or had cramped earlier in that collision with Reggie Miller was the right leg. This time Michael is pulling down the sleeve with a problem with the left one.
So Jordan now 7 for 26 for 19 points in his 42 minutes. Scott knocked away by Michael Jordan.
Now both coaches going offense, defense. Rick Smits is back into the ballgame right now, as is Corey Blunt, replacing Steve Kerr.
Indiana 2 of 6 from the field in overtime. Here comes Reggie Miller. So Reggie Miller, who appeared to be through for the rest of the game, is limping his way back out of the court. Shot clock at 8. Jackson. Jackson providing the Pacers with a 3-point lead.
A big gamble there by B.J. Armstrong. Really wasn't necessary. Took himself out of the play and left Mark Jackson wide open. He played a solid game.
foul is called. Hand-checking call on Jackson.
First
The Pacers there.
2 minutes on the Pacers.
Their fourth team foul. The next foul for either club would put them over the limit.
And Larry Brown wanted that foul to be committed. No free throws involved to get Reggie Miller out of the ballgame right now. He is just hobbling, unable to move at all at either end of the floor.
It's one out of the pages of Mike Reardon. The early 70s giving the foul as instructed by Larry Brown. Here's Jordan. Lost it and then regained. Blocked with the driving hook. Rebound McKee. Indiana by 3. 40 seconds left in overtime. Scott made contact with Walker. Yes, and it counts.
What a terrific play by Byron Scott, knowing his team needed a pick-me-up with Reggie Miller out of there. Just gave a little glance coming off that screen. Able to get inside Michael Jordan. Earlier, he got called for waving off with the left arm on a play like that. This time, he did initiate the contact, bumping into Luke Longley, but able to maintain some kind of composure and balance, not real good balance, to get that shot up and in.
It has been an outstanding performance by the 33-year-old, soon to be 34, Byron Scott, who will go to the line. He's 5 of 6 at the line, 84% free throw shooter. Larry Brown of the Pacers reacting to the move by the veteran Byron Scott, who has 16 points.
Well, the low post game of Rick Smits has been very quiet all afternoon, and the Pacers, tell you what a good basketball team are. They have other ways to do it. They've done it a lot on the perimeter, although maybe a little bit too much, but they also have some people that can get into the lane and make something happen.
Indiana by 5, 29 seconds to go in overtime. For Scott. And the Bulls will take a timeout. It's the Pacers 102, the Bulls 96. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Jordan at the end of the regulation did hobble his way back for one sequence. Michael Jordan has been limping, although he has hung in. I don't think Michael had an overtime in mind when he was thinking of making his return. He has now played 44 minutes. He has sat only 9 minutes. 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Only 7 of 26 from the field.
Well, Michael had the cramp earlier, then a little bit of a leg injury here. He has been the most resilient athlete, however, that I have ever seen. He'll be sore tomorrow, but he can bounce back.
We apologize for the brief technical difficulty experienced. Told all is back in working order, and Jordan goes off the mark. Pippen trying to keep it alive, and he did. Although Larry Brown is upset with the call. Last touch by the Pacers. It will be Chicago ball with 22 seconds to go.
It wasn't that Larry didn't have a good look at it. It was right in front of his nose as McKee and Pippen went for it, and it did appear that Scotty was the man that knocked it out.
Another chance for Jordan. That is number 28. Rejected by Davis. Block number 5 for Dale Davis. Final seconds, and the foul is given with 7 seconds to go. And the Pacers hearing it from this capacity crowd.
Well, a lot of heroes today for the Indiana Pacers. There's one of them, but none more than Dale Davis, who did it on the boards and did it with block shots. And as I said earlier in the game, Mark, he is not even 100% and probably doesn't figure to be the rest of the year because of those shoulder problems that could go out at any time. But if he can play like that the rest of this regular season and into the playoffs, the Pacers will be in excellent shape.
Vern Fleming, a 70% free throw shooter on the line. Dale Davis, 20 rebounds, 5 block shots. 103-96 Indiana, and Phil Jackson is called for time. 7 7/10 seconds to go in OT.
Takes it all the way to the rack.
Kick it off with ESPN Classics running of the Bulls. Classic games. From Pippen, Paxson, Grant, and you know who. Before the great stars make a comeback, they come to ESPN Classic. The running of the Bulls, all day today, only on ESPN Classic.
You're watching our classic NBA marathon featuring Michael Jordan's greatest games and moments, plus a look ahead to his comeback this season, right here on ESPN Classic.
Indiana Pacers looking to make it 2 of 3 on the season against the Chicago Bulls. A lot of emotion on the court here for both clubs. The Bulls came out in shaky fashion trying to adjust, although they looked very tentative in the early going, trying to adjust to the return of Michael Jordan. Indiana Pacers looking to play off, use it as for motivational purposes, and they certainly did, led by as many as 18. Chicago with a great burst in the fourth quarter, coming back, sent the game into overtime off the scoring of Scottie Pippen in the fourth quarter. Pippen coming up short. Time running down. 3 seconds to go. It will be Indiana ball. Pippen with 31 to lead Chicago. Miller with 28 in a gallant effort for the Pacers, who have won it in overtime. 103 to 96. Chicago shooting only 2 of 13 from the field in the overtime session. And Indiana with a record of 40-24. Now let's go to Ahmad Rashad with Michael Jordan. Ahmad?
All right, Michael, you got one under your belt. How does it feel?
Well, as you see, my timing was a little bit off today. I mean, I was just trying to get my rhythm back, and I don't know if it was a good game for me to come back. Reggie seemed very energized, and so it's my first game back, and I know it's not going to happen in one game. It's going to take a little bit till I get my timing back, but hey, I'm back. That's all that matters.
Does it concern you, though, with the playoffs so close, that you will get your timing back in time?
Perfect timing. I'm not worried about that. I think a couple games I should have my timing back, but this is not a playoff game, and it's not, I know we want to win, but for me, I mean, I really got to take my time and try to work my way back in.
Let's clear up a few things that have come up. They're talking about you, and you coming back, you had some assurances that Scottie Pippen was going to be here and B.J. Armstrong. Is there any truth to that?
I'm only back for the love of the game. I'm not back here for extra money. I'm not back here, I was hoping, and I'm still hoping that Scottie Pippen and B.J. and Phil, all those guys to be back, and so it's not my place to make those decisions, but quite simply, I hope everything works out, for all 3 of those guys. But, I'm back for the love of the game.
And what about the fact that you had something that you didn't have to go to practice, or some kind of clause that you wouldn't practice?
No, I love practice. I need to practice. I cannot skip practice. I need it. Today really showed me I need to get back into practice.
Last question, Michael. You left at your peak. If you don't come back and lead this team to a championship, do you worry that this might have something mess up your mystique a bit?
No, I'm not worried about that. I mean, you're not expected to win every time, but I'm back here to try to help my team win, and we certainly got a good opportunity.
Well, it was great to have you back. We'll see you next week.
I hope so.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Ahmad. So Michael Jordan makes his return here at Market Square Arena in Indianapolis. And Michael very candid about the work that he sees ahead of him off the 7 of 28 performance from the field. Michael finishing with 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. And he plays 43 minutes in all. Once again, final score in overtime, Indiana 103 and Chicago 96.